So I'm here again with JP, who is going to be telling us about some photos that he began sending me in August of 2017 that really got my attention just because of their high quality. That clearly showed what looked like were these triangular shaped craft near McDill Air Force Base, which is the home of the Special Operations Command, which is a major combatant command of the United States. And so to have these flying triangles right near the base, I thought was very significant, and JP was right there taking photos. So JP, thanks for coming back on XM News TV. So
thank you,
welcome.
Michael. How you doing? Everything good?
Yeah. So tell us. So this group of photos, you sent me a series of 6 on August 31st, and they showed these triangular craft near McDill. So what made you, feel that these were part of a secret space program or craft that belonged to the US Air Force?
I personally thought it was a bomber from far away. One of those bombers that they use. What do we call it? Is it an H bomber?
The B1, B2 bomber?
Yeah, the B2, B1 bomber. And I thought it was that, but when it was approaching, it was getting a little bit bigger in size. And I took out my phone, and I had my old phone, I remember. My old phone, I took it out. When I took it out, I look up to it, and I press video, but the video on my phone was not working. And I said, oh man, it doesn't work. So I drove a little bit more up, and I got off the car, and I tried to take more pictures. No, video. And when I saw that the video was working, I started taking pictures. But when I started taking pictures, it stopped stationary. And I could see it. I was overwhelmed. I was quite nervous because I haven't seen something like that in a long time. And it started pulsating. So I kept taking the pictures, and I kept like in a state of calm, because I didn't want to get excited for the picture not to go bad. So I kept taking the pictures, and it started pulsating, and then it started getting bright, like the TR-3B.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm assuming it was a TR-3B, but it was a smaller one.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you've been mentioning in our communications, that the TRB-3, typically it's described as being kind of like, I think, 600 feet in, like each of its 3 sides are like 600 feet. So it's a very large craft, but these were much smaller. You were estimating roughly 15 meters or something like that.
Yeah. And when I saw this, and the ring started rotating around it, and then you could see it pulsing, and I started taking the pictures, and that's when I got those amazing pictures. Mm-hmm. That even McDill Air Force Base got aware of these pictures after reading your article.
That's right, yes. After this article came out, and we put out the pictures of this flying triangle and the pulse around it, the Tampa Bay Times or something.
Tampa Bay Times.
Right, they did a story on this. So this actually made the major media. So
all over the radios, all over the base of Tampa
mm-hmm.
Bay, around Florida actually.
Right.
This news came out.
So this was August 31st, and so that was really the kind of beginning of just a sequence or series of days leading up to Hurricane Irma, where as the hurricane approached, you were having more of these sightings, and for example, you sent me on September 5 and September 6, you sent me more photos of these flying triangles over Tampa, or just near McDill Air Force Base, and now the hurricane was approaching. So can you tell us, what was happening at that time?
What was happening, Michael? There was a person that was dressed up in black cap, black glasses, and he told me to actually look up to take these pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it kind of weird, but I found it kind of like I felt a good vibe from him that he was telling me to look up to take these pictures, and he just pointed up, and it's funny because during this process before taking these pictures, we were communicating, saying that, hey, this storm, my source was telling me that this storm is going to hit McDill Air Force Base. And
what did he say? Did he say anything about who was, why that storm was going to hit McDill?
Because McDill was involved in releasing flying technology of anti-gravity ships, and the other guys don't want that to happen.
Okay. So because McDill was involved in these craft being photographed near McDill Air Force Base, that Special Operations Command were behind that, and there's another faction, whether we call it the deep state or something, didn't want that to happen. And so this hurricane was actually a kind of punishment or deterrence.
This hurricane was right by, or already passing Puerto Rico in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sending you photos of the spaghetti worms of the news. Hey, Michael, I think the guy's telling me the truth. And I believe that this hurricane is going to make an L shape and go straight into McDill Air Force Base.
Right.
And then after I took these pictures, Michael, and went public, they started evacuating McDill Air Force Base because of the hurricane. So they kind of knew something was coming their way.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of sensed it, that they were going to get hammered.
Right.
And I remember that time it was scary for the whole family, for the whole peninsula of Florida, to have that situation happen to us. And I remember calling him saying, hey, I'm really scared with this hurricane. Once it got into the Gulf of Mexico, it turned to a Category 5 hurricane. And that's enough to destroy houses, to destroy almost anything, similar to a tornado kind of speed. So when the hurricane did pass, prior from the hurricane, when the hurricane started heading his way, and we were in touch, I kept taking pictures, and that's when I took the picture of the helicopter interacting with the TR-3B type of ship. And
right, so some of the photos you sent me were of this helicopter that was in the vicinity of one of these flying triangles.
It's funny because another person saw this with me, I remember, and he was walking his dog, and I said, hey, did you see what I saw? He says, of course I saw what you saw. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. So this actually, this incident was on September 8th, where you had the flying triangle and the helicopter that seemed to be kind of shadowing it, the black helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter looked like it was studying it, like training type of making sure that it was doing the maneuvers it was supposed to be doing. Right. So the helicopter was really there to see. Because, as you know, the helicopter is the only vehicle that can stay stationary. Mm-hmm. It can't be, no other vehicle that we have that runs on, not on anti-gravity.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, this was actually the first time in its history that McDill Air Force Base had to be evacuated. But despite that, and them evacuating it because of the hurricane, still, you're seeing flying triangles, and they're being kind of accompanied by these black helicopters. And so So there clearly was some subterranean underground facility at McDill.
There was still special operations. They evacuated the people that work on top.
Right.
But the special operation, I remember in the letter that they let go, and I think I forwarded to you, that they still have people there, even though...
That's right. That's that letter, the memorandum for McDill Air Force personnel, 8 September 2017. Basically ordering all personnel, non-essential personnel to leave. But as you're saying, those working in these underground facilities or in critical security projects, I mean, they remain on the base.
Yeah. They remain on the base, and they remain... They're working on these ships. While everybody was evacuating, they were having fun with these ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's quite remarkable here, of course, is that this was all happening with the awareness of the Special Operations Command people, knowing that this was actually being deliberately targeted.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah, it was. I had a beautiful feeling also in some of these ships, because I remember right before the hurricane, it was the cigar ship.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about that next,
okay.
Like with the Nordics. And so for now, I think very significant that we remember that this hurricane actually was not accidental, or at least you were told by your covert operative contact that people involved in the flying triangles being witnessed, that the people involved in that operation were aware that this hurricane was making a beeline for them.
Yeah.
So they knew that it was being steered by someone that was opposed to this disclosure initiative.
Yeah, I remember he told me a week before, he was telling me that this was going to hit McDill Air Force Base. And I remember telling you a week before,
mm-hmm.
Hey, it's going to hit McDill Air Force Base.
Right.
And we have to be ready, whatever happens.
Okay.
But, gladly there's people out there that they're fighting for good.
Yeah.
And this storm came down to a Category 3 hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
It was Category 5. They were really trying really hard, but it still went over McDill Air Force Base.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that...
we were monitoring the eye. And the eye went right on top of McDill Air Force Base.
Right. So exactly. So that was like the hurricane was like steered directly at McDill, and you were telling me too that the flying triangles were actually entering into the hurricane, and whether they were trying to mitigate it.
Yeah. They were trying to see where it was originating from,
mm-hmm.
the energy.
Okay.
So because I'm assuming because of these anti-gravity ships have. They have these devices on the ship that they can tell where these storms are being originating. So they knew. They came to the conclusion that, yes, this is going to attack us, and we have to try to calm it down, because if it doesn't, our base is going to be gone.
Great. Okay, well, very important information there, JP. So thanks for sharing that, and we're going to come back and talk about some of the efforts to actually have you become or be alerted to these sightings and your own experiences in some of these ships, some of these craft. So we'll come back to that. So thank you.
No problem, Dr. Michael. Thank you.